Good morning, good morning, good morning. Blessings and favor to each of you today under the sound of my voice. Welcome to another MMM. Today is Monday, March 18th, 2024, and this is Reverend April Miller, and I am indeed grateful to be alive and grateful to be with you today. God bless you. Our nugget this week comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, and I'm going to read from the Living Bible translation, and we are reading from verse 4. And it reads, "Yes, a wise man thinks much of death, while the fool thinks only of having a good time." I love having conversations that empower me. I love having conversations that help to improve me in whatever way needed, whether it's physically or financially, spiritually. In whatever way, I love having positive conversations that remind me of the good and the bad, reminds me of the positive and the negative, and reminds me that there's more to life than just trying to survive here on earth. And last week, I had a conversation with a gentleman, and we initially started out by talking about the benefits of living in small towns versus living in big cities, because oftentimes people think that there are so many advantages of living in big cities, and a lot of particularly young people, when they get to a certain age, they want to move away from the small towns and the small communities to experience life and to embrace bigger and better opportunities. And that is so good. That is so good. But trust me, as you get more mature, you will see the amazing benefits that many people enjoy in small communities. But there is one that I never ever thought about until we had this conversation last week. He reminded me of how living on the islands and living in small communities, how death impacts us in a more personal way than it would in bigger cities. While people are certainly leaving this earth from all over the world, for those of us who live in these big cities, we don't know them personally. Our neighbors would die and we don't know them. Sometimes people on our jobs, our colleagues would die and we never really got to know them. And so for many of us who live in the big cities, or many people who live in big cities, death has no impression on them, leaves no impact on them. But he said to me, he said, when you live in these islands, when you live in these island nations, you get to know each other. You know your neighbor. You know your colleagues in a more intimate way. You know your colleagues' family. You know their children. You know their husbands. And in this place where everybody knows your name, when one leaves this earth, it affects us. It impacts us. It touches us. It shakes us. It makes us think about where we are, especially in this time where people are here today and minutes later they're gone. Especially in these times when they're going by the twos and the threes. It makes us reflect. It makes us reevaluate. It makes us rethink what is more important in life. It makes us rethink where we will go if our time comes today or tomorrow. And so I pondered on this conversation for a couple days, and I could not wait to share this with you today, because life has a way of making us reflect. And while I love small communities and the advantage of living in them, I never thought about this one. I never thought about how death would impact us and how death would cause us to rethink and reevaluate. See, knowing and feeling death all around us is an eye-opener. That makes you think it can be you any day. I saw a picture several weeks ago that someone shared. I think it's a meme, or the memes that people share every day. And this one got my attention because it was a line leading to heaven. And this line showed people being taken away one by one. And it gave the depiction that each of us is on a line. Each of us have a set time. It reminded me that each of us have a set time. Hallelujah. And one day we will be in the front of the line and our name will be called. On this line, there was no identified age difference. There was no obvious race difference. There was no clear difference or similarities in any way. The only thing that we had in common was that we were all on one line, waiting for our names to be called. Have you ever been on a line? Maybe the bank line or the line at the food store, and it's moving really slow, or even in traffic, and you're becoming impatient because it's moving so slow. Well, we are on a line. Our names are on a list. And sadly, in this era, the line is not moving as slow as we remember. Someone is shoved in the front of the line every second of the day. For many of us, it does nothing to our spirit. It does nothing to our emotions. We continue in sin. We continue as if we have our lives. We hold our life in our own hands. And while death is so hard on so many levels, for those of us who have felt it in a personal way, it should bring about an awareness that we are edging to the front of the line. This is an appointment that we all must keep. We cannot jump off the line and go to the back. The days we are living in should shake us, should wake us and cause us to re-examine our eternal destiny, re-evaluate the way we act, re-evaluate the way we treat others, re-evaluate our relationship with God, and give diligence to make our calling and election sure. One day we will get to the front of the line and we will hear our name called, and it will be too late to re-evaluate. Amidst all of the encouragement to be great and to grow, every now and then I'm led to remind someone to seek the Lord before it is a day too late. Because one day you will find yourself to the front of the line and you will hear your name called. Let's reevaluate this week. Let's rethink. Let's remember that death comes to everybody. We all have an appointment that we cannot miss. Let's make this week a week to reevaluate our eternal destiny. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Hallelujah.